Coach, final game of the regular season this weekend against San Jose. Thoughts on the matchup?
Chris Wondolowski, very important game for us. End of the season, we want to thank all the fans. It's, in our minds, it's a very, very big game. I actually love the fact that all the games are at the same time. I think that's a great idea by the league. Whoever thought of that, congratulations. So it'll be an interesting, fun, hopefully exciting for the home fans type of game.
And their new head coach, Almeida, actually coached here for Chivas back early in the season. He's coming back.
Yeah.
Thoughts on him as a coach and maybe
We had a good
kind of
rapport. I needed Gonzo, obviously, to translate, but he seemed like a nice guy, very well respected in the soccer world. And I think that was a very, very good signing for them. So we'll see if he pans out. There's obviously some nuances that he'll have to get up to speed with, but overall he's had a very successful record of wherever he's been. So, and he was respectful to us. So I had nothing but good things to say about him.
Coach, a couple of big wins, but definitely there are certain details that maybe need some fixing, maybe mental mistakes or things like that. How do you go about that?
Like what mistakes?
Just in general, when you give up goals, perhaps for lack of positioning or so, anything like that.
We always, Nico, we always watch the tape and try and learn and be better. I would say that if you're looking at the Orlando goal, you're looking at the Houston goals, yeah, you could find fault in that. You could find fault in some of the missed chances that we had in those games where we could have put the game away, made it easy on ourselves. You can look up and down on the team and say, yeah, we could have done better. But what I choose to look at is that team came from nowhere to win 9 in a row. We stubbed our toe a little bit. A point in Philly would have been great. Would have helped us out. We stubbed our toe a little bit, and they come back and they have a chance to win 5 in a row. Some tough games on the road in MLS against you guys, or the narrative is that guys are out of the playoffs. Well, that team in Orlando didn't quit. The team in Houston didn't quit. Wilmer did a great job coaching. And I'd prefer to look at the positives that our team has accomplished this year after a horrendous start. I'd be the first to hold up my hand and say, yeah, we took it on the chin first part of the year. But that group of players never quit. They didn't quit in any of these 2 last games where you say we might have needed to play a little bit better. You heard Christian, some of the guys talking during that 9-game streak, yeah, we're winning games, but we're not playing well. They still found ways to win. Maybe that's the same narrative. Maybe we're finding different ways to win. But don't think for one second that our coaching has changed. After every game, win or loss, we look at ways as to how we can make the team perform better.
How important is it for a team to just know how to grind certain games even though you don't play your best, especially in the playoffs?
Well, playoffs are a different beast. There's a little bit more tension, a little bit more pressure. And I think we have a very senior team. Outside of, Nuhu actually played a lot of games in the playoffs last year. Everybody else is a pretty seasoned playoff type of guy. So that's got to help us. So when we go into the playoffs, we will use that, use our experience. We will use the fact that every year since I've been here, the games throughout the course of the year has almost primed the team, because in 16 it was do or die. In 17 we had a good run at the end because we needed to get into the playoffs. And here in 18 it was do or die. Some of those games were in the middle of the year, they were do or die. If we'd lost a couple of those games, the game against Minnesota when Bruin kicks that in, Raul scoring, off his 12th touch against San Jose. Those were all do or die games, and those types of situations, those experiences will help this group of guys when it comes into the playoffs.
Victor's contributions in the last few games have been excellent. Is that exactly what you wanted from him when you guys brought him in?
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question. Victor has been a really, really, really good run of form, and he has put the injuries behind him. He's playing free. It is exactly what Chris saw when he was scouting him. because Chris had scouted him a bunch of times. He was almost a DP target for us as well. So that was what we saw on film. He had some issues he had to overcome, and I am so pleased for that guy because he's been a good pro, done all the work, put it in at training, all the fitness, the rehab, all of that sort of stuff, and now he's enjoying the rewards of all that hard work, and that means we are as well. So all credit to him.
On that same vein, his ability to show you all those things that you praised him for, who do you think benefited the most in terms of on the practice field?
As far as Victor or the team?
As far as the team.
Well, I think everybody's benefiting from it. I would say that Victor's resurgence is exactly what this team needed, because he's goal dangerous coming in from the wing. He's got some assists. His work rate is good for that position. He defends when he needs to. So I think it's helped everybody.
How are Harry Shipp and Brad Smith? Are they on track to be ready for the
Harry's going to be in training on, what day is today, Wednesday? He'll be in training Thursday.
And is Brad?
Brad's very close behind. Very close. He'll be in bits of training on Thursday, but not all of it.
When a guy's coming back from injury as the season's ending, you're moving to the postseason, how tough is the judgment call of deciding whether or not to put a guy in the starting 11 when you don't really know his body of work?
It's very tough. Well, we saw both Brad's and Harry's body of work so far this year, so it's been good. So those are tough questions that we have to obviously discuss, and we'll make those decisions when we need to.
You referenced earlier you kind of had to dig in for a couple of games down the stretch. The Minnesota game you referenced, and over the last couple of games you've played some teams that haven't maybe been at their best or not maybe playing for as much. Are you worried about your team not having to dig for maybe that extra gear over the last couple of weeks here as you get ready for what might be a one-off playoff game?
We had to dig in Houston. We had to dig in Orlando. Yeah, they weren't against what you guys would say playoff caliber teams, but we had to dig in those games. So there is a little bit inside of us that says, yes, would we have loved to have those results against, I don't know, Columbus and whoever else is, a playoff team, a team that's like you play against Montreal, who's fighting for their lives, right? Would we have liked some of those? Sure. But this is the schedule. The schedule made us win 9 games. The schedule has given us a chance to win 5 in a row. We're going to take every game in a parity-filled league as a cup final. That's what we're going to do.
Is part of you then a little bit maybe even glad that you had to sort of dig in and grind out those results instead of just winning again 4-0, 5-0?
That's a better question. Had we won those games easy, I probably would have had more thought behind the issue. It's a better way to put it.
Coach, Nico broke Rosales' club season assist record. What does it say about him, and what could you say
Nico's
more
been on
about
fire
him?
since he's come back from the World Cup. So, come back from his training with the team and not making the team, he's been on fire. And he's a great player. Both he and Morrow took a lot of the set pieces, so that's even. You're comparing apples to apples. And Morrow was a great player for our club. Very, very good player for us. And so for Nico to pass that is impressive.
Steph also has had one of his best seasons in his career. What have you made of the year he's had?
Well, the save in the 85th minute to make it 2-2, they had to come down to his right. Keeps us in the game, and then Raul goes down and scores 3-1. There you have it.
Back to the schedule just for a second. You guys have basically played do-or-die soccer for 5 months now, and that's pretty mentally taxing for any team, which is why nobody usually wins as many games as you guys have. How do you guard against them peaking too soon, them hitting a wall, making sure those late goals aren't a byproduct of some kind of mental fatigue?
Yeah, that's a good question, Jeff. I mean, it goes back to our same we've been pretty consistent in our coaching all year long. We do the work on the field, we watch the film, we hold people accountable, we talk to them, we boost them up when we need to. I mean, it's that same program. And yes, MLS is a slog of a season. It's long and it's arduous and it's got its ups and downs. But I would again say that after the first half of the year, did they stop believing they could win? Did they quit? No, definitely not. And now they're getting some confidence out of those wins. It's almost like they know, yeah, we can do this. We've been in this situation. We can do this. So, again, that's a interesting conceptual idea. Is it fatigue or is it confidence? You flip it around. I think the way Ozzy drives the team, his leadership, I think Steph's leadership, everybody, Nico's leadership, Christian, everybody down that, up and down that experienced roster, they all provide some of that confidence in a good way.
Roman Torres out here training. Is he over his injuries?
He's 100% ready to go.
How's Nuhu doing after that game?
He's okay.
He's a tough kid.
He's a tough kid. Like, he had some groin soreness, but he had to work hard because Elise is a good player. I mean, Houston had 3 tough forwards. They were very good. And so, he had his hands full, and he went on an attack a couple times, so I was proud of the kid. He did well.